Welcome to Business Power Hour. We have a really great show for you guys today. I have two lovely, amazing panelists, and we're going to be talking about self care and burnout. I really wanted to do this topic because something I see as a business coach is something I'm always thinking about is how do we get people to just keep taking action over a long enough period of time? And I really think two of the biggest things in business that people don't talk a lot about is luck. I think there's a huge component of luck in business. And then there's a huge component of time, of just doing the action over a long enough period of time. And it's very hard for our human brains to continue taking action over a long period of time when it's not seeing results, right? And what I teach in the mastermind is there's a gap between the time you take the action and when you see the outcome in business. And in my business, we often talk about on the team, we'll implement something. We don't expect to see results from the things we're implementing from like really 9 months to a year. So we really expect to have to post on Instagram for 9 months to a year before we're really looking at that data. And not everything takes that long, but I think it is often the case. It takes longer than we think, right? So I'm so excited to have our amazing panel today to talk to you guys about burnout, because I think one of the biggest things that comes between people and success in business is they give up before the miracle, right? So they do action for a little bit and then they stop doing it. And then they do action for a little bit and then they stop doing it for lots of different reasons. But I think burnout is probably one of the biggest reasons I see that people step out. So I think this is a really important conversation. If you guys are building your business, no matter what stage you're in, burnout can happen even at my level. I've seen people making even way more money than me get burnout and leave their businesses. And I really want to help people make sustainable businesses, build businesses that are going to support them and their family for decades to come. And so this is a really, really important conversation. If we talk about having a business for that length of time, all of us are going to have this come up at some point, right? So I will let our beautiful panelists introduce themselves. I'm going to grab a link really quick while they're chatting with you guys and get everything all set up on the back end. But Larissa, you want to go first? Just let everybody know who you are, what you do. I believe you guys have free gifts that you guys brought. So definitely tell them about that, because I love to build a budget, but build a business on a budget, right? We're balling on a budget out here. So if you guys have free gifts, definitely tell them where to get those. And yeah, Larissa, I'll let you go first. Tell them all the things.
Okay, great. I am Larissa Russell. I'm in the middle of migrating two businesses into one and rebranding. So Heart Centered Academy is what we will be. Creative You is where you
Wait, what was
probably
it? Tell me
already know
again.
me.
I want to hear about your new business. What's it called?
Heart Centered Academy.
Heart Centered Academy. Oh, I love that. That's perfect.
Yes.
Very fun.
So we're taking Creative You business, Creative You healing, merging the two, rebranding. And I help women step into their best lives in life and business. So everything using feminine energy, which is a little bit different than, especially in business, than you would normally see, and just really transform your lives into the best possible lives. And I do have a free gift, our aligned business worksheets, and those will help you to sort of figure out if you're going in the right direction, which is really important, and then how to stay going in that direction. And mostly for business, but you can also use them for life, right? Are you going in the right direction? But yes, these are the kind of tools that we use to stay on track, because it's so easy as a new entrepreneur, especially, to be like, ooh, shiny object, especially if you're neurodiverse like myself and Faith. Just, oh, shiny object, which is what led to my burnout. But I'll save that for a moment. And do you want me to add the link, or the link will be below?
You can put the link. I don't know if we're able to share. You can try and share it in the chat and we'll see, but we'll put the link in the show notes. So you guys that are watching live can always go on the blog tomorrow and we put all of the links, all of their social, all of the stuff on there. And then what about you, Melissa?
Hey everyone, I'm Melissa Miller. I'm a former certified nursing assistant turned full-time stay-at-home mother and spousal caregiver 4 years ago. And today I am a caregiver and business coach over at www.caregivingentrepreneurshipreimagine.com. And I am passionate about helping entrepreneurs navigate being a caregiver for a chronically ill loved one, be it a spouse,
Mm.
aging parent, aging grandparents, or chronic or special needs kid, with the understanding that healthcare is probably not their first skill set as an entrepreneur with their business, and I am going to help them create simple stress-free systems to help them navigate that new and terrifying role. And my free gift is my ultimate caregiver organizer, where I help you break down your loved one's illness with templates to help you break down medications, dates of diagnosis, procedures, allergies, even stuff from medical emergencies if you have to call 911. So I have a whole 4-page template in there to break down your loved one's medical history that way in bite-sized pieces for the EMTs and a lot of other good stuff. So definitely check it out.
That's so awesome. Yeah, if you guys are a caregiver, you definitely have to grab that. And Melissa used to be a nurse, so this is like her kind of specialty. I feel like you have such a unique skill set in that way. So
Well, certified nursing assistant, not a nurse. So the lowest tier of nursing. But yes, I
you're a nurse in my mind, right?
I practiced for 15 years in long-term healthcare.
In my mind, you're basically a doctor. Melissa's a surgeon, everyone.
Watch it, Faith. You're kind of gosh, girl.
Well, I want to hear from you guys when we talk about burnout. Like, what do you think are the signs people should be watching out for? Like, what are the kind of what's the telltale sign of burnout, and what should people be looking out for when we're talking about building these businesses over a long period of time and making it sustainable? What should we be looking out for to make sure that we're able to keep going over a long enough period of time to get the results that people are looking for in their business?
I would have to say, I'm just gonna step in here as someone who's actually gone through it twice now and teaches about it. I literally teach about it, and I've done it twice in the last 5 years. So I now think I know the signs for real.
Yeah. Tell us what they are. Yeah. What should we be looking out for?
When you start, it's almost like when you start to like ramp up and nothing is getting accomplished, and then you get really tired and nothing is working. That is a big sign. That is a really big sign that you need to take a break. You need to step back. And right from the get-go, less is more. So we don't have to do all the things, right? Which is what I tell all the women in my mastermind. But when you feel that franticness of I'm not doing enough and I must do more, but you're so exhausted that you just can't, and then you're beating yourself up, this is a huge sign. And I've seen it in myself. I've seen it in other
vicious
people.
Spiral, right?
It is. It is. Until you crash. Right? Yeah.
So what are like the warning signs before you get to the place of like needing a step back? Like, is it just the chattering brain, or like, what do you think the biggest like warning signs are for that?
I think they're there all along, right? They're there all along because as entrepreneurs, as women especially, we think we have to do all the things, and more is better. We lean into this. Well, if I worked 8 hours a day working for someone else, I've got to work 16 hours a day for myself. And it's not true. It's not true. Less is actually more, because then you focus on the things that you need. So that overactive brain that makes you push is going to lead you to burnout. The needing to do all the things is going to lead you to burnout. It's inevitable. You don't need all of those things, but we have been taught to believe that we absolutely need all of those things. And it's not true. It's not true.
I coach people on this all the time, and I always say it's the most toxic thought. And I see it most prevalently, I feel like, with moms, definitely with women entrepreneurs, but I think, just anybody with a human brain, right? And it's this thought of like, I should be doing more. I'm not getting enough done. I didn't get that done. I should be doing more. And it's like kind of a constant loop in the back of your mind of like, I'm not getting enough done. I should be doing more. Right. And I always think like that to me is what causes burnout, right? And you can get burnout even just working an hour a week if you're just telling yourself, I should be doing more. I'm not doing enough. I should have done more. I didn't do enough. I should be doing more, right? And I see it with people working an hour a week. I see it with people working 80 hours a week, right? And it's interesting because the people that work 1 hour a week and are thinking I should be doing more, they're like, well, if I was doing more, I would feel better. But the reality is I see people working 80 hours a week, like working, doing all the things that are, and raising kids and like are incredibly productive, and they have the same thought, right? I should be doing more. I should be doing more. And I think that to me is like a huge cause of burnout among entrepreneurs. So it's like, can you do a task and then think, oh, I got something done. Like, good for me. Like,
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
that's a good preventative burnout mode. It's like, can you think to yourself, oh, good for me. Like, I got that thing done. Like, let's go. We're making progress here versus like, I didn't get this done. I didn't get that done. And this isn't done. And that isn't done. So I love what you said about like less is more. Cause I think having that mindset of like less is more, I am doing enough. I don't have to do everything. I think that keeps us out of that kind of little gremlin from going on in the back of our head. And then what about
Mm.
you, Melissa? What are like flags people should look out for they might be getting burnt out, or like we might be going a direction that could lead us to burnout? What do you think the warning signs are people should look out for?
Well, from a medical perspective, and I personally, for me, it's not burning out from two different businesses. It's burning out just physically from the stress of being a caregiver.
Yeah.
I already had, when my husband got sick, I already had hypothyroidism, which already gave me chronic uh, digestive problems. And then a couple years into my husband's illness, I got IBS on top of it. So, and that's another chronic condition and digestive issue, and stress makes it
Mm.
worse. So, I think the main thing with being an entrepreneur and also tackling a caregiver, if you're also a caregiver like I have, personally or professionally, is you need to really manage your time for yourself. It all starts with you, is what I tell my clientele. It all starts with you. It's a house of cards. If you don't take care of your mind, your body, and your soul daily, you're no good to yourself, you're no good to your kids, you're no good to your spouse or partners, you're no good to your clientele. And there, and right there and then and there, your creativity for your business to expand and grow goes out the window as well. And so self-care, it's a buzzword across the internet. It has been ever since. It was huge when I started back in 2020. I think it's still there, but it's really needs to be a buzz in the sense that it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. And being a healthcare professional, if you don't take care of yourself, stress and anxiety can lead to panic attacks, digestive disorders,
Mm.
blood pressure problems. It can be a whole can of worms that you do not need when you're already maxed out with caring for someone else who's chronically ill, or if you have small children like I do. I have a daughter that's 5, and you're trying to build the business of your dreams. So it puts a lot more pressure then also too on your business. Like you tell us, you've coached me on this for years about it's a baby business. You wouldn't expect your toddler to provide and take care of you when your toddler can't even take care of yourself, take care of it's themselves. So the same thing is true. You need to give yourself that realization that your business is small, it needs nurturing, but as the parent of that business, you're no good to it unless you take care of yourself first, mind, body, soul. So not just the physical aspect in terms of movement, hydration, nutrition, sleep, that is no brainers, from a medical standpoint, but also mental. What are you doing to deal with those hard feelings of fear, anxiety, stress, anger, even like from what you've had to go through? I dealt with that a lot because my husband got sick right dead smack in the pandemic, and we had just gone through 5 years, or no, 6 years of infertility to have our daughter. So yeah, it felt like life was just throwing us way too many curveballs, right? And then I've lost both of my parents within the last 2 years. So life is hard, and so you have to deal it's important that you deal with those emotions from those experiences that you go through, because it will manifest in unhealthy ways, be it health problems, be it lashing out at your kids, and or be it, like Larissa said, crashing in your business and then nothing gets done and the creative flow can't continue, and your business doesn't be able to continue to blossom and grow at the rate that it should.
Yeah, and you're bringing up really good points about like it has a physical toll on you too, right? Like burnout, I think sometimes feels like, oh, like burnout, like it's like this la thing. But to your point, Melissa, it is like real stress on your body that has like real physical consequences on
Mhm.
these human bodies that we're in, right? And
Yes.
so, what would you guys say? Like, what would be your advice for people listening that are like, well, that sounds nice for you, but I have, we all have our things in life, right? We all have like, I'm sick and I have a million kids and I have businesses and we have bosses and we have life and we have, marriage stuff, family stuff, kids stuff, money stuff. Like we all have all this stuff. And then I feel like there's the messages of like self-care and health, which I think people do think are important, but but what would you say? Like, how do people prioritize? How do we get the self-care in when we have all these things competing for your attention? right? And oftentimes the people that are struggling with burnout, it's like they are in tough seasons of life a lot of times, and we do have a lot going on. So how do we fit it in when life is being life and everything is crazy? What advice do you guys have for people to help them actually manage all this and like do the self-care that we're talking about and make time for this stuff?
You're going to make time one way or another, right? So you're either going to get sick and you have to make time, or you can make time before you get sick. And we often forget that because we live very much in everything's fine until it's not. And we don't really move in the space of preventative. We're much more about, oh, fix me after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
But one way or another, we're going to take that time. So I personally have now realized I would rather choose when that is, right? When that is.
That's a good thought, right? So I get to choose what it is versus it like my body deciding for me when it is.
And it always does. And we, as women, we have all the things. And our self-care, the things that are important to us, they go by the wayside first, right? Because we are taught to take care of everyone else. Everyone else comes first. We're being selfish if we look after our own selves. And we've heard the analogy about the face mask on the plane. It doesn't hit home with people, right? It really doesn't hit home with people because it's a maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't, but I'll worry about it then. But it really doesn't hit home until it happens to you and you cannot function, right? And when you have people to look after, you have children and spouses and, aging parents and your own health, all of these things combined, and you come last, how long do you think you can keep that up? The stress that plays out, and a lot of it is mindset, right? Like the way we think about things. Mm-hmm. Like you were saying, Faith, about, when we start to spin out about I'm not doing enough, that's the stuff that adds stress. It's not the actual doing. It's all the thinking that we do around the doing. And those are the things that add extra stress. So how can you change your thinking? How can you look at things in a different way? How can you actually take the time you need? And it could be short little bursts, and people often talk about like the spa, and that would be great. Go to the spa if that's your thing, but that's not true self-care. True self-care is setting boundaries. Self-care is, having that time to do your journaling in the morning. Self-care is eating the right food, getting the right amount of sleep. Spa, that's a great thing, but true self-care is looking after you wholly. And that's really important.
Yeah, my partner, Matt, has like incredible sleep boundaries around his sleep. He goes to bed at the same time every night. And I'm always like, let's just watch one more episode or let's like stay up. And like, cause I like staying up late at night. And he is just like unwavering. He's like, no matter what is going on in life, like I'm going to bed at this time. And he goes to bed and he gets up at the same time every single day. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think about that a lot because it's super unsexy. Like it's just like not like when you talk about self-care and the spa and like take care of yourself. A lot of times it is like unsexy stuff, like going to the gym when you don't want to. Right. I've been getting up earlier at 6 a.m. just to help my sleep schedule. And so I have time to work out and do all the things I want to do in the morning. It is not fun to like get up at 6 a.m. Like that is not fun. Like it is not fun for you to go to bed early all the time. Like, and so I think a lot of this stuff on the internet, it'll be like paint your nails, like go to the spa. And it's like, yeah, some of that stuff is like fun and good. And like, that's awesome to have fun. But a lot of times it's also like, putting in the real intentional effort to build habits. We're doing a habit challenge inside the mastermind this month where they're picking one thing they want to do every day for 30 days, mm-hmm. right? And we were talking about these are little habits that support your big vision, right? So maybe you want to double your income or make your first 6 figures. What's one little thing you could do every single day that would move you closer to that, right? And a lot of people would be like, oh, like do more sales, write more pitch letters. But we're doing a lot of stuff in the mastermind that's like journaling every morning, doing your daily debrief, going to bed earlier. Like those are the things that really in place over time, I think, really support your business, like having those habits in place. And they're a pain to build. Like they're hard to build, they're hard to get in place. And they're not as sexy as I think the internet wants them to think. Mm-hmm. And then What about you, Melissa? What kind of advice do you have? I'd love to hear from you too.
Well, I would definitely say I know from my situation, being a caregiver and an entrepreneur and a mom and someone with my
All
own
the
health
things,
issues,
all the
all
things.
the
And a
things,
brain
X, Y,
surgeon.
and Z. Yeah, well, I don't know about a brain surgeon, girls. Gosh, I love you. I would say that what realistically for me, I like how you said like kind of what you're doing with getting up. For me, for the month of May, I got really inspired. Our Christian radio had a gal come on talking about an article she read about for the month of May. If there's like 30 or 31 days, 15 minutes. Take 15 minutes to focus on one goal, whatever you want for the month of May. And I am 5 years postpartum and I went through cesarean. And so with my gut health and everything, I've become really food intolerant. So
Mhm.
getting back in shape and getting healthy has been a goal, and being able to maybe and work on trying to heal my gut to where I can incorporate foods back into my diet has been a goal. So I will say one piece is that okay, the spa and painting nails might be fun, but it isn't long term. So investing maybe in a long-term solution. So maybe it
Ooh,
is
I
that
like
gym membership,
that.
or maybe so for me, it's been the financial piece is investing in Plexus and because to help me heal my gut. And
Mhm.
then the realistic thing that I've been doing in terms of what I can do and without spending more money has been going out for what I call prayer walks in the morning. So right before I
Mhm.
take my daughter, I get my daughter ready for the day, we get her going, then my husband watches her while I go out and do a mile loop in our subdivision, and I plug in my earbuds. I found a Christian meditation app called Encounter, and I love it. Definitely check it out,
That's
y'all, if you like
awesome.
it.
That's
And
like
I
so
just do a
nice.
prayer walk. So, and it's just 15 minutes, and that's the thing. It's like, and another thing about wellness, if like with me, I'm starting at ground zero. I have not worked out or done anything for like 5 years, and my gut health has been in the toilet for the last like 3 or 4. So obviously, I can't. It's not realistic to go from 0 to 60. Just like we can't expect our businesses to go from 0 to 60 overnight. I mean, those who claim 10,000 a month, moments right overnight, they're lying to you. Don't listen to them. Listen to Faith. So really, really give yourself grace and start slow, even if it's just 15 minutes. And I already tell my caregiver entrepreneurs, I tell them 15-minute breaks. So 15 minutes, to every now and then to just get up and move, to a stretch, to maybe journal in the morning, like Larissa was talking about, or maybe going to bed 15 minutes earlier, or getting up 15 minutes earlier and working towards a time that you have in mind for your bedtime or your wake up time. With exercise, again, I'm doing just 15-minute walks. That's better than nothing. And walking, and also being realistic too, in terms of what you can handle. Since I do have, food and intake issues that way, and also just, not working out for so long, low impact is what I need to take into account too. So walking is a lot more appropriate for me than trying to do an hour of cardio at the gym and lift weights. It's not appropriate for my skill set or my body. So be realistic. Be realistic with what you can handle in the season that you're in. Be realistic with your goals. What is the outcome that you want out of it? Don't just do something out of for the heck of it. Actually have a clear intention for what you're wanting to accomplish with it, and be realistic with what you can handle financially.
I
So, and
love
just start. Just start.
Sure, just do something. I love that so much. And I think this is one of my things I coach on also a lot, all the time in the mastermind, right? But it's kind of this idea of like our brains love to tell us, my brain especially, like I'm always like, I have the most dramatic brain. That's why I think I'm a good coach, because I'm like, I have to coach my dramatic ass brain all day that's in my between my ears, right? And my brain loves to tell me all the time, it'll just be like, oh, it's gonna be really hard. It's gonna take a really long time. And like I think our brains love to do this of like I don't have the time, right? And it's like you've got to like really ask yourself, like, is that true? Like, is it going to be hard? Does it take a long time? Is there a version I could do that doesn't take a long time, that's not going to be hard? Like, is there an easier version of that I could do? And it's like whatever it is you're wanting to add into self-care, like, is there a little beginner version you could do, right? And I'm doing something really similar to you, Melissa. I just joined the gym, and Kelsey and I were laughing right before I got on this call because I was telling her, I was like, well, yesterday was my just like sign up for the gym, and like the day before was just sign up, and then the next day my only goal for the first day was to just go there and park and put my stuff in the locker, because I have so much anxiety about such silly stuff. My brain will start being like, oh my god, I don't know where to park. And Matt and I have this huge pickup truck, right? So I'm like, oh my god, I'm in a city I've never been in, I have to drive the truck and then I have to park it, and what if there's no parking? And then I'll be like, oh my gosh, like I was telling Kelsey, I was like, I had all these like weird anxious thoughts about the locker, where I was like, oh my gosh, like what if I can't like figure out how to work the locker? I don't know like how to do it. Or like, do I have to get a key? Do I need to go buy a lock? Like, right. And I just kept telling my brain, I was like, look, like we just have to start, just go there, just see what happens. If you can't park or we can't work the locker, like then we'll work on that. And then of course I went there and it was fine and I worked out. But I was like, my only goal for that first day was literally just go there and park and like put your purse in the locker. And then I was like, if you do that, that's like a good accomplishment for the day. And then I was like, and we can just build from there. And then I was like, the next day you can walk. And then the next day, maybe we can add some other stuff in. So I think I love that idea of like, it's not going to be hard. It's not going to take a long time. Can we do an easy version of it? Could you just do a little bit of it? And then just every little tiny thing adds up and you can build on it over time. I really love that idea. And I think it's very counterintuitive for a lot of us, right? Because my brain's like, why would I just drive to the gym and like put my personal locker? Like that would be a stupid waste of my time. But I'm like, but if my anxiety is so bad, I can't go to the gym, then like, that's not going to be useful to me, right? So starting where you are and then just building up, I think is a great idea for a lot of people. How does this show up in business, right? So are there practices you guys have as far as like getting your daily tasks in the business done that you think like make it sustainable for you? Because I know you both have a lot going on and obviously have very busy, full lives with lots of things that you manage. How do you have tips for like those daily business tasks and the daily grind that make it sustainable and allow you guys to show up day after day? What kind of advice do you guys have for just managing to show up and do your business tasks every day or every other day or every week or however much we're doing it?
You want to start, Melissa? Yeah.
Sure. Well, I'm going to take a page from Facebook because it's all her fault. I blame you for getting me hooked on Notion. It's all your fault. Anyway, so for me, I would say just have a plan. Have a system and a plan. That's a lot of what I teach is just having a system for managing your daily, weekly, and monthly tasks. So however you want to do it, whether it's on paper in a planner or a notebook or a big wall calendar or a Notion or Asana, or ClickUp, there's so many out there. Make a list.
There's not any superior one either. You guys.
No, just
they all do the same thing.
Just make a list
for you.
Yeah.
People really, I can go down this hole. So for my ADHD friends out there that are like, I need to research all. No, you don't. You just pick one.
Just choose one. Okay, so choose which method you want first. Okay, paper, pen, planner. Just choose your method.
Something you already have that you already know how to use.
Yeah,
that's
and that makes sense to your brain too. No, that makes sense to the layout for your brain too. So do a brain dump. Write down all your tasks, daily, weekly, monthly. Put them in those categories. Anything that is not in any one of those categories, I want you to think about and not think, but look at it and really ask yourself, do I even need to worry about this? If you don't need to worry about it, ditch it. But if it is something you need to worry about, can you outsource it to somebody else? So, and I don't care what it is, anything in your business or even anything personal, but business definitely. Yeah. And then once you've done that, create templates for yourself. So that way, when you're planning, you cut your work time, your planning time in half. That has definitely been helpful for me is creating weekly intention. What I call them weekly intention templates where I break down, I have Monday through Friday, my reoccurring tasks that are no brainers that I want to get done every week. And then I have at the top of that same template, what I call my project tasks management list. And those are things that are more like a bigger project. So if I'm on a podcast, like what I'm doing, like right now, I had reminders to promote that this week. So if I have, if I'm in a big launch or a bundle or summit, I'll look at my bigger template that I have for that project and I'll just copy and paste like for that week, what tasks I want to get done. And for me, I really find some satisfaction from having check boxes to check it off. So I like in Notion to do check boxes. And then that way I can visually see like, okay, I got this done, and this is on deck. And then on usually Saturdays to Sundays is how I like to do it, is I'll hop in on Notion on my phone and not be in my office even, and I'll just take 15 minutes, and I'll just eyeball what is coming up for that week that I need to add to that weekly calendar, because the recurring tasks are already there. So I'm just basically adding other stuff that's on deck that I need to get done for that week, and I just add it to my template, set in my dates and times, and I'm ready to go and off to the races. But for you, whatever layout that is, maybe it's writing in your planner, maybe it's doing Google Calendar would be a great one because it's already on your phone, it's accessible via your computer and your phone. You can color code, you can do both your meetings as well as your tasks in there. So it's all in one. So just start with something. But the main point here is to have a plan and a system for keeping track of what you need to get done and evaluating what is non-negotiable daily, weekly, monthly, and anything else, just ditch it altogether because that's a waste of your time and energy, or outsource it to somebody if you can.
Yeah, I'd
I love
absolutely agree. Planning is, you have to plan, especially as an entrepreneur, but I think in life in general. Now, as someone who's late diagnosed ADHD, planning is very difficult. Well, no, that's not true. Planning is not difficult. It's the follow through, right? So having a system that works for you is vitally important. And it doesn't have to be the same as everybody else. It doesn't have to be what everybody else is using. You need it to work for you, and that's it. We in my mastermind, we have weekly sessions where we do our planning together. We have now monthly sessions that we do on the new moon. We use the energy of the seasons now, and we do seasonal planning. So we're using the energy of the seasons to do our planning, but we get together and plan together in community, and that energy helps. There's a bit of an accountability to it, but it's a system that is flowing with the energy that we've already built in that container, right? And so, yes, planning is super important, probably the most important, but you have to be able to sustain it. So whatever that's going to be for you, right? And that's where all of those choices are there. You don't need to research them all. Try one. If that doesn't work, try another one. We spend, and this is my autism part, I will research to the nth degree all the things, which works really well for my mastermind because I do all the research and then they benefit from that. Yeah. It's like, you do not need to do all the research. Just pick something. Just pick something and do it. That's it. Yes.
Often like the simplest things, right? Like I'm always on like, I always have like, I just do like Post-it notes. So like I have all my stuff in Asana, right? But if I go in Asana, my to-do list in Asana is like 100,000 things long, right? Because I have all the things like I need to do, stuff for the program, reoccurring tasks, projects I'm working on, things from the team. It's like everything is in there. So I go each day and I just pick like the top 3 things and I just put the top 3 things live on my computer monitor on little Post-it notes, right? And then when I finish these 3 things, I go back to that master list in Asana and look, and I'm like, what are the 3 most important things now? And I just move like that all day. And like, you know, it's the most effective, like to your point, it's like, it's what's most effective to me. Is it silly to have to rewrite things on Post-it notes when they're already all there in Asana? Probably, but like it helps me actually physically write it, have it in front of me, and to only look at 3, I'm only ever looking really at 3 tasks at a time. Whereas I know when I'm opening that thing all day, trying to figure out what to do, sometimes that can like put me in overwhelm, right? So I try to be like very strategic when I go in Asana of like, we're not going to go overwhelmed. You're not going to be overwhelmed. You're just going to go pick the next 3 things you're going to work on. It doesn't all have to be done right now. It's fine, right? And I think it's important for entrepreneurs to know like, you're never going to get everything done. And I think, and a lot of times when I talk to people too, they think when they make more money and they have teams, like, I'm like, no, it's just like never ending. Like, it's just, you just have more stuff, more people, they need stuff from you, more deadlines. Like, it's just like, I'm like, and it's great to have your business growing. Like, don't get me wrong, right? I'm always like, I want you guys to make all the money and do all the things, but just know, like, you're going to have just as many tasks to do. You're going to have just as much stuff going on, right? That's another thought my brain will tell us that I think a lot of our brains like to tell us. It's like, it'll be easier later. I'll have less going on. And I always told the mastermind, I'm like, maybe. But like, you know, last year I kept telling myself I'm going to launch this membership and putting it off because I'm like, oh, we'll have more time next quarter. We'll have more time next quarter. And then I finally just sucked it up and did it. But I ended up getting chronic migraines in Q4 last year. And so, you know, I have been waiting all year to do all this stuff because this is like when we're going to have the time and when it's going to be better. But the reality is we don't know. Like, it's like, it could be easier then, but you could have a whole new can of stuff you have to deal with that you don't even know is coming yet. So that was a huge lesson to me. And like, there might not be a better time. And like, if something is important and you want to get it done, you just have to make the time now, because that's the only time we're really guaranteed. And really all we like know we're going to have. Let's see, what else should we talk about as far as self-care? I went through my little questions. what do you guys think is like your one, if you could tell everybody listening, like one thing, like from your heart to their heart, somebody's like burnout, they're really going through this, they saw this in their podcast feed, you're like the answer to their prayers right now, they're like, oh, thank God they're talking about this week. What's like one thing you would want them to know?
I think.
You're not a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Melissa.
They're on it. They're like, I got things to say, y'all. Get out of the way.
You're not alone. Look, life is hard. Building a business is hard. Being a caregiver is hard. Dealing with other traumatic experiences in life is hard. I just want anyone who's listening and at that breaking point that you're not alone. Okay, it's not your fault. It's not your fault if you get a chronic illness. It's not your loved one's fault if they get a chronic illness. It's not your fault that your business is going at the pace that it is. Okay, because of you burning out. It's just you need to just reset, and that's okay. We're human beings and human bodies, and we make mistakes. Okay, we're not robots. We're not perfect. That's not the way God created us. So take a deep breath, give yourself some grace, and also remember that you're not supposed to do this journey alone. That's why there's coaches and mentors like the three of us out there, because we've been through X, Y, and Z, and we're passionate about helping you get on the right path. Okay. Mm-hmm. And just like there's only the right system that works for you, it's okay to seek help from multiple people. Okay. And leverage what you need from that person for that moment, for that season. Okay. I'd rather you get the help and ask questions for 3 months, that even if it is for just 3 months, versus not asking for help at all and then just staying stuck in overwhelm and burnout and being chronically sick and depressed and stressed out. That's not going to serve you. That's not going to serve you in meeting the needs of your loved one. That's not going to meet the needs of you thriving and sharing your story, which matters because we all have a story to share. And it's meant to be shared, and it needs to be shared because someone is waiting and praying for it. So you're not alone, and it's okay to ask for help. And just like Larissa was saying, like if you try like Asana, that doesn't work, and then you try Airtable, that doesn't work, but then you need to try 2 more to find something that works for you. Same thing with mentors and coaches. Not everyone's going to be the right fit for you. That's okay. We all have different niches for a reason and different clientele for a reason. So it's okay, because I've done this too. Before I had 1 or 2 other coaches before I found Faith, and Faith was the ultimate, but it took me a while to get there to find her, and that's okay. But I still am thankful for the experiences that I did have with those other coaches and mentors, because there was a nugget of truth, of inspiration, of resource that I did get from that, working with that person for X amount of time. Okay, so you're not alone. It's okay to open your mouth and ask for help, and it's okay to give yourself grace as you're navigating and figuring this out.
Yeah. I think that's a really important point, is that you're not alone. Find a community that is going to fit for you. And you don't have to do all the things. This is my tip. You don't have to do all the things. We think when we start that, we have to write a book, because then, people will know who we are, and then we have that. And then you have to have a course, and you have to have a podcast, and you have to have, and you have to have, and you have to have. And I did all of those things. That did not help me. It helped me burn out very quickly. And you don't have to do all the things. And you definitely don't have to do all the things in the first year. You can do all the things, but do one thing. Get really good at the one thing. Social media. Pick one platform and get really good at that one. If you have a program you want to do one program and get really good at that. And when that's going really well, then you can add something else. But do one thing at a time. You don't have to do all the things. All the things will burn you out faster than anything.
That's so important, Larissa. And I'll just add for anybody listening to, like, I've coached a lot of business owners at this point, like hundreds of business owners at this point. And I think one of the most painful stories I think I hear people tell themselves when they're going through tough seasons and running their business is like, if this other thing in my life wasn't going on, the business would be growing faster. And if I didn't have to do all this other stuff, the business would be growing faster. And I'll just tell you guys, like, maybe, but also, like, I see people that have all the resources in the world, that have all the money all the time. And like, sometimes it takes them a long time to get the business off the ground too. Right? It's not like you just have time and money and then you have a successful business. Otherwise, everybody would be quitting their jobs and going. Right? And so just remember, like, it might not be better over there, right? And then I really love, I learned this from following Byron Katie, but she always says, you know, when you argue with reality, you just create more suffering, right? And so when we're arguing with reality, like this shouldn't be happening, my business should be growing faster, I should be making more money, I should have more clients. It's like all we're doing is creating suffering, and like we're on the journey we're on and we're walking the path we're on. And any of us that have businesses will tell you it takes the time it takes, and the business is on the business's timeline. And so this is the business's timeline right now that you're on, right? And just thinking about things in your life being different, the business is still going to be on the business's timeline. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen faster. So then it's like, well, how do I stay on the business's timeline and find some comfort here? And like, what can we start thinking about the business that feels not, doesn't even have to feel better, but a little more neutral, right? That's a little less painful, right? A lot of times we'll start telling ourselves, I've spent all this time. I hear this all the time. I've spent all this time and I've spent all this money and I'm still not getting, and I should blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know, it's just not, if you're not going to quit your business, all we're doing here is like creating suffering, which isn't useful for you or your clients or really anyone, right? So it's like, how do we stay on the business's timeline with the minimal amount of suffering? That's like the minimal amount of drama, right? But our brains can create some painful stories for us around this stuff, right? I mean, I'm joking about like suffering, but it is like real brain suffering our brain can create sometimes. I really appreciate you guys being here and sharing all your tips. I think this is such an important conversation because it is hard to keep taking action with everything going on in life and everything together. You guys have any words of encouragement to leave people on to help them keep going? What's one thought they could borrow from you this week to keep taking action and just keep showing up in a way that's sustainable?
Yeah, every overnight success has at least 10 years ahead of that, right? So we think they're an overnight success, but they're not. They've put in the work ahead of time. It is hard work, and it could be 6 months, it could be a year, it could be 5 years. Just keep doing it. If you love it, if you're passionate about it, keep doing it, right? And work on yourself. Work on yourself, because that's where the changes happen. Knowing more things, building more things, that's not where the changes happen. Changes happen when you work on yourself.
I love that. That's been huge for me probably in the last year and a half, is I stopped focusing so much on getting things out of the business and getting the business to be on my timeline. And, you know, I have this goal of like $1 million business, right? But I started focusing on like, who do I have to become and who do I want to become in the process? And that has made it so much more fun because it's like, I just want to show up and learn and do my best, right? And fail and learn lessons and do all these things because of who I become in pursuit of the goal, right? And it became less about the outcome and like getting all these things at the end. And it really has helped me like enjoy the journey, as cliche as that is. But it's like, who am I becoming in the process? And even if we never get to 1 million, I'll still be glad I did it because of who I became in the process of the pursuit. And that has taken so much pressure off of it. So I love that so much, Larissa. I think that's such a good one. And then what about you, Melissa? What's a thought we can borrow this week from you to keep going?
Let's see here. Just to stay in your lane. I know that's easier said than done because as business owners, we're exposed to a lot of outside energy and comments that sometimes can be rude and disrespectful. And again, with the timeline, we get impatient, right? We're like, God, I just want this to happen. Can't you make it happen a little quicker? But then it goes back to something that Faith talks about all the time. It's like, there's our business, there's God's business, and there's other people's business. And it's so funny how God and the universe just happen to align. Because it actually, my meditation actually talked about this morning. It was talking about how we're that God is wanting to transform us from the inside out into a better vision of Him and not so much of the world and the temptations and things like that. And the same thing is true with our business. We have a vision, we have a passion for it, and it's supposed to be unique and different from everybody else. So there's always going to be haters. There's always going to be people that dislike or have an opinion about X, Y, and Z. But the only thing we can really control is our own actions. So how can we, so like going back to what Faith says, how can we work on ourselves with self-care? Maybe it is, working on our physical health. Maybe it's working on our mental health. Maybe it's working on our emotional or spiritual health, because that will in turn allow, when we're betterly grounded with our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health, the ideas come for our business. We're able to focus and actually get stuff done a lot quicker. We're able to better brainstorm ideas and solutions to help our clients achieve their goals. It all is intertwined any way you shake it or not. And I just want you guys to remember that it requires you sometimes to just keep your head down, focused on the vision that you have, and to just put your blinders on and not be distracted by all the other energy, all the other comments, all the other opinions of people around you. Just keep your blinders on this week, head down, and just focus on where you want to go. And surrender the timeline is the last piece of it. Just surrender the timeline. I've been at this since 2020, so my business is about to turn 4 years old. Am I where I want to be? No. But the process has been such a journey for me of learning. I've done a lot of things I never thought I would do, especially from having the skill set of only being in healthcare. I haven't done tech. Like this year, I'm so proud of myself when I learned how to convert a video to an MP3 file. Yay! So,
Me both, girl. I used to be a wilderness counselor.
I know, right? So give yourself some grace and some credit. You guys are learning a heck of a lot of skills. That is not your first skill set, okay? And with that being said, you're not going to go from 0 to 60 overnight, and it's going to take maybe years, weeks, months, days. I don't know. God knows, I don't. For you to get to where you're meant to be, but you will get there, okay?
Yeah, so. I love that. Stay in your lane, everybody.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Blinders on.
Yeah, I love that. We talk about that in the mastermind a lot too, just about the amount of skills you need to be a successful entrepreneur is like so intense. And it's like, if the learning curve feels high, it's because it is, right? And it's like, the reality is there's degrees in web design, in marketing, in sales. Those are all separate degrees you can get, right? And that you could go to school for 4 years and study like before you go out and get a job working. And we have to learn all these skills for our own business. So I think if it feels hard, it's because you are doing something hard. And I think a lot of times online, especially, like entrepreneurship is sold as this like easy, fun thing. And the reality is people are signing up to run the marathon or to do something like really hard and really challenging. And like when you sign up for a marathon, like you expect it to be uncomfortable, you expect it to be hard. And I think with entrepreneurship, sometimes people don't understand like, oh, I signed up to run a marathon. I didn't know I was going to have to do all this, but it's such a good learning opportunity. And that's why I love coaching business owners, right? It is such an incredible personal growth opportunity. So thank you guys both for being here. I think you're both doing such important, incredible work, truly. And I really appreciate both of you taking your time. I know you're both very busy, obviously, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be here and share this with everyone. Can you just tell everybody one more time, like who you are, what you do, and the free gifts? You guys just both brought incredible free gifts. I want anybody that just jumped on to have the opportunity to grab those. We'll put the links for everything will be on the podcast show notes. It'll be on the YouTube show notes, and it'll go up tomorrow on the blog for you guys. So Larissa, can you go first? Just tell everybody real quick who you are, what you do, where can we stalk you? Where's like your favorite social media or internet place we can find you, and free gifts we can grab? Tell them all the things.
Right now we're a little confusing because we're Creative You and Heart Centered Academy. So we're in the middle of switching over. So I help women transform their lives with feminine energy and really step into their power. And favorite, I love YouTube. We have rebranded that one to Heart Centered Academy, so you can find us.
Right, it's Heart Centered Academy on YouTube. Go stalk Larissa. You got to get those videos. I'm sure she's dropping wisdom. Larissa's dropping wisdom over there, y'all. You got to go over there. And then what about your free gift? Plug your free gift.
The free gift, yes, is our aligned business worksheets. And they will help you sort of figure out if you're going in the right direction. And if you're not, how to align yourself. And then also how to keep yourself in alignment so that your business works for you.
I love a worksheet too, because I love journaling. But sometimes if you're thinking like I should get into journaling, but you're like, I don't know where to start, get Larissa's worksheets and she'll guide you through that stuff, right? And you'll get some good I guarantee you're not going to go through those worksheets and not get some good insight. Like anytime you sit down and ask yourself some really powerful, intentional questions. I try to do that every day in my business. I really try to ask myself like really powerful questions about the business, and it always gives me such great insight. So if you guys want to start doing a practice like that, definitely go get those worksheets and I'll help you get started for sure.
It's a great start. Yes. Because you want to align your business with how you want to be in the world. You don't want to have to contort yourself for your business. So
yeah, and it sounds like, oh, well, duh, right? But the reality is it's easy to do. I've done it, like where I've had coaches tell me to do something, or we see other people doing something, or somebody comes and gets in your ear and they're like, this is the best strategy. This is what you should be doing. Or, oh, you know what you should really be doing? Like, and it's so easy to, especially when, like we're saying, like things aren't working and it's taking time and you're like, maybe what the right thing to do is. It is not easy to stay that course when things are not working, right? It sounds like, oh, like obviously I would have an aligned business, but I'll tell you, as someone who has coached, it is not easy. I used to have a sign in my office. It just said, stay the motherfucking course. It was just like, at that time, I was like, I just had to tell myself all the time because my brain would be like, we should do this and we should do that. And it was so squirrely and so many shiny objects. Especially in as a business owner, there's a million people marketing their programs and their stuff, and they're all in your ear, and you've got your friends and you've got people you're following online, and there's so much chatter. It's so easy to get off course. And so get those worksheets from Larissa. They'll help you stay. You probably don't talk like me, but say the mother effing course.
I've been known to say
if it was my aligned one would be like, say the motherfucking course worksheet with Faith Mariah. All right. And then Melissa, tell everybody who you are, what you do, where can we stalk you?
I am Melissa Miller. I am a caregiver and business coach. You can find me over on my website, www.caregivingentrepreneurshipreimagine.com. And over there, you will find my free gift, my Ultimate Caregiver Organizer, to help you more easily and with less stress organize your loved one's medical history so you're able to manage and document changes on a daily basis, but then also, more importantly, for a medical emergency. So it's all your medical history is all consolidated for your loved one in one spot. You can stalk me over on at Instagram at Melissa Miller 2011, YouTube at Caregiver Entrepreneurship Reimagined. My podcast is also over there, Caregiving and Entrepreneurship Reimagined. You can also stalk me on Facebook, Caregiving Entrepreneurship Reimagined. And yeah, shoot me an email either too at melissamiller@tylersupermom.com if you have any questions, and I would love to talk with you.
So. Yeah, you guys, if you know any caregivers that also want to have a business, you have got to refer them to Melissa. You have to. And the binder she's giving out is incredible. It's such an incredible resource. Like I said, she used to work in healthcare, and she's such a blessing and a light, because people that are caregiving other people, if you're supporting another person, it's so hard, right? And trying to do entrepreneurship, we're running 2 marathons over here. So if you know anybody who is a caregiver that is interested in business and needs extra support, you've got to plug them in with Melissa's stuff, because she'll really be a blessing and a light to them. So thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you guys. I'm Faith Mariah. You can find me at faithmariah.com. If you want to listen to past episodes of the show, we have all of the episodes are on my blog. If you go to faithmariah.com and click on blog, we have all of the video recordings there, all of the guests, the links, all this stuff. If you're ever looking for anything really great to binge watch while you're cleaning, or you want to listen to some great conversations, I do this show. We do it, I would say, well, I wouldn't say every week. We do it most weeks. It's hard to get everybody's live and everybody here and everything, right? So we try to do it most weeks. The replays also go up on the podcast. You can find the podcast at faithmariah.com. And I just try to facilitate really powerful conversations about entrepreneurship. I think it's really important. And I think if you're not around other entrepreneurs, you need these kind of conversations in your ear, right? Something I was doing when I started my business is I just put positive people in my ear. I didn't have people around me that believed in me. I didn't have people around me that understood entrepreneurship. And I just would put my little headphones in and listen to podcasts all the time. And now that's why I'm so passionate about providing this for the community, where you guys can just listen to little insight from other entrepreneurs. If you don't have anybody in your life to tell you or give you pep talks or give you encouragement or to be around other entrepreneurs, you can listen to the replays on the blog at faithmariah.com. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Definitely go check out Larissa and Melissa, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, everybody. I hope you all have a good day.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Faith.
Bye, guys.